so please silence in the studio.
Good day to all Warren County residents. Governance, it's never an easy task, especially during a global health crisis. As we monitor numbers and assess our healthcare resources, it's imperative that as a community, we protect our essential workers who are our front line of defense in battling this virus. Our community has done much and an exceptional job thus far, but it's apparent that merely recommending responsible behavior is not providing the measurable results we anticipated. If we are to keep our kids safe in school, protect the most vulnerable, return to regular worship services, and keep our businesses open, we have to take the next step and be ready for action. My COVID command team met yesterday and unanimously agreed upon a mandatory face mask order for Warren County. Both Governor Lee and Department of Health Commissioner Piercy urged us to issue this mandate. Even though many will not agree with the team's decision or honor the governor's request, it is the right and responsible thing to do. As your county executive, I realize the buck stops here. In my commitment to serve our county and the people I love, every opinion is important to me and every concern is addressed. In my leadership role, I also heed the advice of our community officials and heed the recommendations of our health professionals when it involves the safety and security of all Warren County residents, both young and old. Today, I'm surrounded by my COVID command team, Mayor Ben Newman, City Administrator Nolan Ming, Police Chief Brian Denton, Warren County Sheriff Tommy Myers, EMS Director Preston Denny, Health Department Director Andrea Fox, River Park St. Thomas CEO Dale Humphrey. Together, we stand today united in our efforts as I read this executive order. Let the public know this was not my decision alone, but our leadership's collective decision to implement this mandate. Executive Order number 2. Whereas a state of emergency exists across this nation, and both Tennessee Governor Lee and county mayors have broad powers in regards to conducting business, taking measures over the conduct of civilians, and called for during meetings. Whereas the COVID-19 disease remains a threat to our citizens, our healthcare systems, and our economy, making it necessary for each Warren County resident to protect themselves and others by following applicable health guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and other leading medical experts to help slow the spread of the virus, including social distancing, effective personal hygiene practices, and wearing appropriate face coverings in public settings. Whereas most importantly, wearing a cloth mask covering is a simple step that each resident and visitor can take to slow the spread of this virus, which prevents taking more drastic and disruptive measures against our local economy. Whereas pursuant to the authority and the emergency powers of Governor Lee under law and those granted to county mayors across the whole state of Tennessee, now I, therefore, Jimmy Haley, Warren County Executive, by the virtue and authority vested in me, declare and continue to issue a state of emergency and in order to facilitate a response to the COVID-19 crisis and in support of the City of McMinnville's Resolution 2112, do act on the following. A mandate order is enacted for all residents and visitors in settings where close proximity to others is anticipated, and especially where social distancing measures are difficult to maintain. Persons are urged to wear face masks in all other public spaces where the exposure to the virus can occur. Large public gatherings are strongly discouraged, and any such event should have a written plan in place in order to protect the participants from exposure to the virus. Both the City of McMinnville and Warren County law enforcement officials will promote the use of masks in public areas and will issue verbal warnings when there is a disregard for the use of masks and social distancing guidelines that have been established by the CDC and Public Health Department. Residents are asked to practice precaution against spreading the COVID-19 virus and support all measures taken to promote the safety and welfare of everyone in our community and across this region. Coverings do not have to be placed on children under 2 years of age. It is also recommended that N95 masks be reserved for healthcare workers and first responders. Once again, all Warren County government employees are required to wear appropriate face coverings while at work, conducting county business, or dealing directly with the public, both inside and outside county facilities. The public access to county buildings have restrictions placed upon their use, and policies are in place to secure the continuance of government services. All businesses should adopt mandatory face policies for both employees and customers and enforce the countywide mandates for the safety of all concerned. These orders are consistent with CDC guidance and includes exemptions as deemed advisable, provided that at a minimum there shall be no requirement that a face covering be worn within one's own residence or automobile by a child 2 years or younger, by someone who has trouble breathing due to underlying health conditions or other bona fide medical or health-related reasons for not wearing a mask covering, unless required in a qualified health facility by someone who is incapacitated or otherwise unable to remove the face mask covering without assistance, while eating or drinking, while outdoors unless the person cannot maintain proper social distancing, while working under conditions where social distancing can be maintained, in situations where wearing a mask poses a safety or security risk, while in a house of worship unless it is required by its leadership or encouraged for the safety of those in worship, while in a voting site for the purpose of exercising your right to vote, but wearing a mask is still strongly encouraged. This order is promulgated under the authority delegated pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated, Title 58, Chapter 2, Part 1, for the purposes of TCA Section 58-2-120. The term and effective date shall be effective upon execution and shall remain in effect until the governor of the state of Tennessee ends or extends Executive Order 54, or the county executive takes further measures to issue mandates or recommendations granted under the authority of the state. Just to remind everyone, as a note, law enforcement is there to encourage responsible behavior, as they do each and every day. They will be there, as always, to protect the safety and well-being of all of our residents and visitors. It will be a daunting task, but we must respect the duties of all of our officers and their support personnel. We need to show them support when many of their efforts have come under attack across the nation over the last few months. They have a job to do, and we all appreciate their service to our community. So I want to thank each and every resident of Warren County for your tireless efforts and support for the measures that we have taken during this crisis. Once again, those simple tasks of wearing a face covering, personal hygiene, social distancing, and avoiding large gatherings, and most of all, respecting the rights of others, are greatly appreciated. These will continue to go a long way in stopping the spread of the COVID virus while preventing unnecessary deaths. Any death is too many, as we all share the burden and the grief as those numbers increase daily. This has not been easy on any of us. We all feel the stress and fatigue. The conditions that we face every day change, and having plans in place helps us to survive the crisis. But to be successful, we have to put actions to our prayers. Only the Lord knows when this will all end. In the meantime, we can all do our part and be responsible in our actions. Your cooperation will allow us to continue the progress at hand as we await a vaccine to mitigate the virus, and while we take further action to eliminate the further spread. The sooner we grasp the seriousness of this crisis, the sooner we will return to normal. Courage conquers all of our fears. And sometimes the hardest thing that we do is the right thing to do. We have a remarkable community. We have faced hardships before. We will do it again. Together, we are America strong. We are Tennessee strong. We are Warren strong. Thank you.